Welcome to our today's class. This is the Civil 3D for Road Design Masterclass. The course is basically prepared for civil engineers and land surveyors as they both relate in the same discipline, and therefore this is the right course or the right tutorial for them. Basically, before we start this tutorial, I would like us to do a basic introduction of what you are expected to know and also what you are expected to have. As we do today, as we introduce our introduction today, I would like us to understand that when we are talking about civil 3D for road design, we are talking about designing a road on a software by the name Civil 3D. Therefore, what you are expected to have is the software Civil 3D, as you can see on my desktop. Therefore, if you want to do the practicals as I will be teaching, or you want to go hand on hand with this tutorial, it's recommended that you have you have your Civil 3D on your computer or your desktop or your laptop or your MacBook or whatever device you may need to use. Now, this is the CV3D. As you can see, these are components of Civil 3D. So you need to have the Civil 3D software on your desktop. Secondly, what you need to have is another application by the name Excel on your desktop. You need to have Excel on your desktop. You need to have that application on your desktop, as you know that Civil 3D manipulates data from different devices. Remember that this Civil 3D cannot manipulate data directly from instruments such as the real-time kinematic or total station or GPS. Therefore, you will need an exterior application. In our case, it will be the Excel, which will manipulate data first, and then now from the Excel we are going to import that data into the Civil 3D. Remember, the reason as to why we need Excel, as I have said, is because Excel can be able to manipulate data from instruments such as the real-time kinematic and the total station, the theodolite, the GPS, and any other instrument. And as you can see on my Excel, I have various forms of data that have been manipulated over there. So basically, ensure that your Excel is running properly, because it will be a fundamental application that we shall be using. Now, before we begin our tutorial in our upcoming classes, I would like also us to understand the following: that this Civil 3D software is a software that manipulates data in 3 dimensions. When I'm talking about a software that will manipulate data in 3 dimensions, I simply mean it is a software that manipulates data that have a northings and eastings and elevation, that if it pertains to surveyors, or a data that has the length, the width, and the height when it comes to qualities and quantities and other disciplines related in Civil 3D, such as structural modeling, etc. Now, we need to understand that this software manipulates data, and that data is mostly in file, and those files are contain certain file formats. Now, I don't know if it will be necessary for us to go through. At least we need to understand the correct file types, and therefore when I'm talking about correct file type, it is just for basic understanding that Civil 3D does not accept all file. Civil 3D does not accept all file. This 3D software, there are files that it accepts, and it is fundamental for you to understand the files that the software accepts. And maybe we may go through them so that in our coming classes we shall not be having a problem with that. So understanding the files that the Civil 3D accepts, because it does not accept any file, it accepts certain file types. Now, there is something we call file type formats, and some of them are in Excel while others are on your desktop. Now, maybe we open this data, of, maybe let us see this data of Kericho Township. Ensure that your Excel is running accordingly on your desktop. I believe we can use this data. Now, you can see that this data is in 3 dimensions. You can see the first one, the second one, and the third one. Now, it is required for us to be able to understand the file format that can be manipulated in Civil 3D, as we know that the softwares, the civil engineering softwares, only accept files of certain type. Now, I want us to look at this data here. We see which file it is. So by the way we can be able to know is by coming here, by clicking file. When you click file, you come here, you click export, and then you come here and say change file type. Change file type. Already you can see that our data is in CSV. So that is a file type that is acceptable in Civil 3D. I don't know why my Excel is oh, correct. Yeah, I believe now it is okay. I've just clicked file and then export, and then I have clicked change file type. Now, you know that Civil 3D only accepts certain file types. Therefore, any data that I will be willing to manipulate in the Civil 3D must either be in CSV, comma delimited, or in text document space delimited. So already that data, this data here is already in CSV, so I don't have I don't need to convert it again. It is already in CSV. But maybe we can look at another data here. So the first thing, for you to be able to import your files in the Civil 3D, basically you have to convert them into CSV, comma delimited. So maybe we may open another file here, just for demonstration purposes. That one is a file of Jorom Summit. This is a topographical survey. Yeah, and I believe in our coming classes we shall be using that this kind of data. So I want us to check this file is in which file type format. So we click file again, then we come and click export, then we say change file type. You can see the file is in workbook, and therefore in our Civil 3D we cannot be able to import. There is no option of importing workbook in CSV. All right, there is no option for importing workbook in CSV. Most data from real-time kinematics, unless it is converted to CSV, it comes in this format. So it is your responsibility to convert it into comma delimited. Therefore, what we are going to do for us to be able to manipulate the data in this software, we are going to convert it into CSV comma delimited, and we are going to double click, and then we say German Summit. There is no problem with that. CSV comma delimited, and then say save. Therefore, when now you close here, even when you just click here file, you can see there are two sets of data of German Summit. One is in workbook and the other one is in CSV comma delimited. So that is the file, the first file type that can be imported into Civil 3D. Now, another option, maybe you found out that remember we are just doing a basic introduction. I know you have come across some of these things. Maybe you found out that your Excel is not working. So are you going to stop working as a civil engineer? Absolutely no. Civil engineers and surveyors must keep on working day in, day out. So what are you going to do? We have another file type format that can be manipulated into the Civil 3D, and that file format is called the text document space delimited, and that is very correct. So how do you form that? That one you just form manually. You right click on any place on your desktop or any place on your folder, and then you come and click new, and then you are going to see text document, and then you can just say maybe you can name it topo. Maybe you did your topo in the field, and then you can just open, and this is how it will look. So what you are going to do, the data you collected in your topo in the field or any other set of data, you are going to copy paste it here. But this is just an alternative. I think I have one. I can show you. Let me delete that because it has no use. I think I have one. I can show you how it appears when you do the pasting. So where did I save it? My survey library, and then CSV files, and then I have CSV topo. So this is how it will look. It will just look like that after you paste it. Though this an alternative method, I advise people that if you have to ensure that your Excel is working correctly. So that is it. So we have seen we can only import two file type formats. The first file format is the CSV comma delimited, and then the second file alternative file type format that can be imported in Civil 3D is text document space delimited. Now, there is also another thing I want us to understand here as we come to our conclusion of our introductory class, is what we call the point file format. Now, the point file format, you see, now let me open again the data we had. So maybe we may use this. Now, all these are points, right? All these are points. Now, the reason as to why we need to understand point file format is for us to be able to specify the correct format in the Civil 3D. Now, I've said all these are points, but now these points, there is an order in which they are following each other horizontally. Now that is what we call the point file format. It's the order in which all points follow each other or presents each other horizontally. Now, we have row number 1, we have row number 2, number 3, number 4, and number 5. All those are points in row. But but point file format is how points follow each other horizontally. Now, like we can see, for example, point number 1, we can see it is in column number 4. We have this first figure here, which assumingly it's the eastings, then we have the northings. By that we can even be able to see that the third column here is the northings. As you know, according to the UTM, or the UTM zones, or the UTM format in Kenya, the northings are in 99 figures, except where the coordinates are for are truncated. So that is basically a nothing. And then we have the fourth column here, which is an elevation. Basically, this data did not need specifying of elevation. That's why you see all the values are in 0. And then we have finally the description. I will show you another type of point file format that contains elevations. But basically, my point of concern in this class is that a point file format is the order in which all points follow each other in a horizontal row. For instance, we said this is a point. This is row 1. We give this first column point number. Then row 2, we have said this is an eastings. It's an easting. Row 3, this is a northing. Row 4, an elevation, and finally a description. So when we go to specify on the Civil 3D, we need to understand that format very correctly. And in Civil 3D, it is shortened by use of common what do we call them? Common letters. Maybe we can just try to see. So you just click your desktop insert and then point from file, and then so in this dialog box here, so I want us to understand clearly. You can see in this dialog box here. Now, maybe I will teach this later, but for the purpose of introduction, let us try to understand. There is this second box here where my mouse is pointing. You can see something written as specify point file format. All right, are you seeing that? So you can see that our data is in 3 dimensions. You see we have comma delimited. We have the first one, E and Z. That is the easting, the northing, and the Z is represented as the elevation. So in that case, we don't have the point number, which is our first column, or the description, which is our D. And then you can see we have this now. Now this is what I was talking about. We have the PNEZD, the point number, which is the first column here, This is the eastings. The second one is the eastings. So you can see this is the eastings here. The second one is the eastings. But in our case, we have the northings. That is why I told you need to understand how the points are following each other on the Civil 3D for you to be able to specify the correct file format. Therefore, in our case here, this is not the northing, so we are going to choose the file format that contains the point number, the P, and then the eastings. By just searching, we have it. Let us just search it here. Yeah, we have it here. No, this is space delimited. It is for text document. And then we have the comma delimited here, the P, and then we have the eastings. The eastings here are represented here as E, and then we have the northings here, which are in 99 values, are represented as N here. They are represented as N, and then we have the Z. No, we have the Z, which is the elevation, but in our case it is 00. There is no problem with that. The software will be able to manipulate that. And then we have the D, which is the description. As you can see here, we have our description. So as we it's correct for you to understand the types of file formats and how to specify the file formats. Maybe we shall be able to understand that when in our coming class. That is just for a recap, and I believe that is a good head to go. So let us meet in our next class.